Small fact about me that I don't think has been brought up in this countdown yet. I spent a small amount of time in film school. Big mistake, film is not my media of passion, obviously. And while I am still about as far away from an expert on the medium as you can get, that small amount of education did give me an eye for storytelling, a decent vocabulary to discuss it, and some historical context to know how storytelling got to where it is today. You may have noticed that I focus on story and themes a lot in this show, even for games that might not immediately invite that. This has led to many people throughout my life, many friends even, misinterpreting my perspective on games. I talk about story a lot, so sometimes I get labeled as being sort of a story-first gamer, someone who focuses on a game's story over a game's gameplay. And hey, I totally can just enjoy a story for story's sake. Visual novels are no stranger to this countdown. But, if I may, in one fell swoop dispel any rumors that I prefer story over gameplay, I submit to the court for evidence that my favorite Metal Gear game of all time is Metal Gear Solid 5: The Phantom Pain. MGS5 takes us to a very interesting point in the timeline of the saga, a time that is absolutely pivotal to the development of the characters and politics of this series, yet we don't know a great deal about because the games that took place most closely to this era were made 40 years ago and look like this. With the full maturation of this series, Metal Gear Solid 5 is able to hit on some exceptionally heavy topics, almost disturbingly so. There's not a lot of good things happening in the lives of our characters. And even though story takes a dramatic backseat in general in this game, the beats we do get are so dour in spite of the unwavering resolve of these characters. I don't want to hang out with anyone from this game, but who the heck's gonna care about all that when the game is this fun? Phantom Pain is a highly systemic game at its core, and one of the most successful games of that style we've ever seen. Metal Gear games can always seem to have a preference in how it wants the player to approach it. Like, sure, you can go all stealth, or you can go in guns blazing, but the game will be very clearly designed to encourage one style over the other. Not so in Phantom Pain. No military-styled game I've seen has ever put so much agency in the player's hand. Not only can you choose to be a one-man army, a modern-day ninja, or just be lazy and bomb everything from your iPhone, but all options are actually quite fleshed out and fun. Not to mention, have their own style of rewards that could pull you towards one style or the other depending on what you need. It's a game that encourages a lot of creativity in the player. Which, it's kind of funny to say this game is really creative and fun when the character you're playing as looks like this. I'm sure you're able to win a lot of this game by just shooting everyone in the face, but why would you want to do that when you can turn your cardboard box into a sled and crash into them instead? The progression offered by Mother Base really helped justify the longer runtime of this game. There's always an upgrade you want to shoot for, and you're only going to get those upgrades by directly engaging with a lot of different game systems. Systems, that's the name of the game with Phantom Pain. Well, that, and an all-time great reveal that perfectly ties this era of the story together. It's beautiful. This game is nearly a decade old at this point, and yet, because the death of Metal Gear essentially meant the death of tactical espionage action games, Phantom Pain remains the greatest playing game in its genre. And even if the genre had continued more strongly after it, it would be an incredibly tough act to follow up all the same. This is another game that could come out today and wouldn't feel aged in the slightest. We shouldn't have had to say goodbye to Metal Gear in the way that we did, but as a swan song, I'm glad we ended on a game that I think will remain fun until the end of time. 'Cause that's how long it needs to last me now.